food, water, shelter, communication, security, physical and mental health. These are the 6 pillars to my survival, and that's what we're going to discuss in this video. Hi YouTube, this is Surrey with AV Prepping, and in today's video we're going to be talking about those 6 pillars I mentioned before. Food, water, shelter, communications, security, physical and mental health. Today's video is going to be on physical and mental health and why it's important that you start taking steps to get physically and mentally prepared for what may be coming in the future. So let's just step back and take a look at what's happening in the country right now. It's insanity. That's why I keep saying, and other preppers keep saying, get prepared. The economy's not doing good. One of the prepper channels, Prepper Dog, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description below. He put a video out last night and it was great. He was talking about the summer of violence. Homicide rates are up in every major city in this country. So, we need to start being prepared for bad things to happen. The news is talking about the economy. The Fed is saying, we're going to have a 2% inflation rate. They're talking about 2024, and we're in 2021 right now. And they're saying this inflation is transitory. Well, it's here to stay. So let's get back on topic and talk about the pillar of physical and mental health. So let's go ahead and start things off with cerveza sickness. This disease is attacking people with underlying conditions, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. It's targeting those, and the government hasn't said boo about taking certain vitamins or getting in better physical health. Now, we all know that the healthier you are, usually the less sick you get. Some diseases, it doesn't matter what your health status is. If you're susceptible to that particular disease, it is what it is. So if you start getting yourself in better physical condition, you're going to be able to thrive better. Again, I keep talking about survival and survive and thrive. So, you want to thrive and not so much worry about surviving. Of course, there's a time where you have to go do certain survival things, but, you want to thrive. The strong survive, the smart thrive. So you want to be strong and you want to be smart. So I'm not a dietitian, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to eat. I'm not in the greatest health, but I am taking steps to get in better physical shape. I have my backpack that I use every time I step out in the woods to go hunting. Every time I travel, it's the same pack. I have certain things in there. It weighs about 24, 25 pounds, and I can live out of it for a few days. Actually longer than that if I had to, but so I'm walking with that. I'm getting my body used to using that. If you're already into prepping or you're new to it and you get a bug out bag or a go home bag, put that thing on your back and start walking with it. I'm telling you, as a former professional Marine, soldier, whatever you want to call us, we used to get our equipment and go on hikes all the time. You have to be physically prepared to walk around with junk on your back, because that shit gets heavy really fast. And at the end of the day, when you take it off, if you've been humping it all day, you're going to be sore the next day. So that's one step you can take. You can start walking around your neighborhood. You can go to the gym. You can definitely change your diet. Again, I'm not a dietitian, but if you go by the food pyramid, or it's the food plate now, it's still the same pile of crap that the government puts out. And if you look at the history of that, it's really the same thing they use to get animals fat to take them to slaughter. I mean, that's just a fact. So I would suggest you take the time. I'll put a link in the description below on a really good book to read called The Perfect Human Diet. It's a really, really interesting read. And you might learn something from it if you have the time. The other aspect, well, let's stay on the dietary part. You know, in the prepper community, there's a lot of talk about, you know, getting your medications and what you need and what you don't, and they always talk about diabetics. Unfortunately, you know, if there's a true grid down situation and it's down for a while, you know, if you're a type 1 diabetic, you really need to monitor yourself and, you know, check your diet and regulate your blood sugar. And if you don't have a basement or a cool place for your insulin, you know, you need to dig a deep hole and basically like a mini root cellar to keep that stuff viable for you to use. Now, on the other hand, we have a huge epidemic of type 2 diabetes in this country, and a lot of that absolutely 100% can be controlled with your diet. So if you change your diet, you start exercising, and if you're diabetic, you already know all this stuff because I'm sure the doctors harp on you about this, because diabetes literally affects every single system in your body. And if you can curve that and get away from insulin or metformin, your body a lot of the times can right itself if you're not a brittle diabetic. So, you know, look at the diet, your intake, and you might be able to get off of your insulin. Again, these are things you talk to your doctor about. I'm just a dumb grunt, but I do know a little bit about diabetes, and I would definitely look into that if I was you. So let's talk about the mental health aspect. You know, mental health is extremely important when there's a bad situation. You know, people get PTSD. They say, I have PTSD. A lot of people that have seen combat or traumatic shit just in their everyday lives. And, you know, if you can learn to start dealing with things, that's great. In a stressful situation, you know, stress is a good thing. It makes us want to survive. It can make us or break us. When I was a young Marine, I had the opportunity to go to SEER school, and one of their big harping points was, you know, the mental aspect of survival. Whether it's, you know, a power outage for a week or two because of a hurricane or some other natural disaster, or if, you know, your local grid was attacked and you don't have power. You know, you have to keep the right mental attitude to survive. And if you have been properly prepared, not only will you survive, you'll thrive. Again, I keep saying it. The strong survive, the smart thrive. So you want to be strong and smart. You want to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Try to keep some of your comfort creature or your creature comforts. You know, so giving yourself a checkup from the neck up is probably one of the best things you can do. It's extremely important you keep the right mental attitude, because if you have children and you have a spouse and you're sitting there saying, oh my God, the sky's falling. How am I going to get water? How am I going to get food? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? You know, if you keep the right mental attitude and you get prepared for this stuff, it won't be as stressful for you. Which kind of leads us into the other pillars of survival. You know, the food, the water, the shelter, the communications, the security. So if you have water stored, if you have food stored, if you have a place over your head to stay cool and warm, if you're able to communicate with the neighbors across the street, or if you have a ham radio and you can receive information, or you have a emergency radio that, you know, the government's spewing out information on it, whether it's local or federal or other agencies, you know, that's going to help you mentally be ready if something bad happens. Again, the last video I talked about the cyber warfare. You know, if your communication systems are down and you can't use these wonderful phones and computers, what are you going to do? Well, if you have even walkie-talkies, you know, the handhelds so you can talk to your neighbors, that is a big plus. If you have a solar generator to where you can power these devices up or keep your freezer running in the summertime, that's just going to give you peace of mind. Now, do you need to run out and go spend $10,000 on stuff? No. But start getting these things in line so when the shit does hit the fan, which, like I said in the other video, it's already started to, the slow train wreck is taking place as it unfolds in front of our eyes. So the next videos I'll be putting out next week, I'll be putting out a video on water, how to prepare your water, i.e. if there's a boil water alert, and how to disinfect your water if you have to. And I'll go deeper into this. So I'll cover disinfection, boiling, how do you transport your water, and we'll talk about food. I've already done a video on food storage, but I'll go a little bit more into that. And one of the most important things is your shelter. That's more on the bushcraft side of things. So if you had to bug out, you would have some place to stay, a shelter. Because if you're exposed to the elements, it doesn't matter how much food and water you have, the elements will get you, whether it's the heat or the cold. And then we'll talk about communications and security, which I touched a little bit earlier in this video about, do you have a radio to talk to your neighbor? Do you have a radio that you can listen to reports? And security. That's another big one. Depending on where you live, I think has a lot to do with the type of security you can have. If you're in an apartment, if you're in a house, if you're in a state that doesn't allow freedom sticks, which hopefully most of these things are going to be changing. Anyway, we're getting off subject here. So again, look for the other videos, and this is going to be a 6-part series. I hope people take this to heart. It's very important. We're all in this together. We're a community. We're one country. Left wing, right wing, it's still the same shitbird right now in my eyes. A government that really doesn't give a crap about you, no matter what kind of lip service they give. They're trying to divide us, and we can't be divided. We are one nation under God. We are one nation, and we need to remain that way. We can't let these people tear us apart. So God bless you. God bless our great nation. Be safe out there and keep your head on a swivel. Watch the news. Don't harp on it. Get a feel for what's going on. And start with your preps, bubs. It's a-coming. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching.